Yeah, obviously it wasn't the result that we were looking for in the Buffalo game. But when you go back and watch the tape, I thought our players played extremely hard. I thought they played extremely physical. They stayed in tune to the game the whole game. Was proud of their effort, proud of all the things that they displayed through 4 quarters. That's something that we obviously going to build on. But we're going to go back to the practice field, and we're going to try to make sure we go back and try to correct the things that hurt us in that game. And obviously ball security being a big part of that, and just some little mistakes here and there that we can't afford to have. But playing a quality opponent in Central Michigan, good football team, a team that, we played last year at their place, but happy to get them home. Another home game to start the season. But, we're going to get our focus locked in on the details. We'll actually have our first walkthrough type practice today to get ready for tomorrow morning. Excited to play them. Excited to get back on the practice field and get back to work. And I like the demeanor of our football team.
All right, please raise your hand or send us a note in the chat if you have a question for Coach Hammock. Probably go to WIFR. All right, Coach. Go ahead. I don't know if it's
Joe.
Mike. Yep. Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. Hey, Coach. What did you just learn about your team? Obviously the first half looked great. Second half, not so good.
Yeah, I think, for us, we didn't play clean in the second half. That happens. It's the game of football. You coach long enough, you play long enough, some bad things happen. But you know what? I did like the response by our young men. They didn't go in the tank. We made mistakes that hurt us, but they continue to play. They continue to fight. Defense made a turnover in the fourth quarter. Offense scored, 14 points in the fourth quarter. A lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas. But at the same, I don't question the effort. I don't question the physicality. I don't question the want-to of our group.
And one more follow-up to that, just, you pulled some of your guys there. You pulled Bowers. Just was that more or less just because indicative of the game, just to kind of give some of the other guys an opportunity there in real game situation?
No, we want to continue to develop our full roster. Obviously, this is a unique season. You're not going to know with COVID who's going to be available which week and when. So that was a great opportunity for us to give some guys some live action. And I thought some guys stepped up at the end of the game and going to give themselves a chance to help us down the line.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, we'll go to Brandon Suarez.
Hey, Coach, you got another prolific and balanced offense coming to DeKalb on Wednesday. What is the best way to attack this offense that can hit you in many ways with guys like Kobe Lewis and Khalil Pimpleton?
Well, for us, it's got to start up front. It's got to start on the defensive line. We have to control the line of scrimmage. I think that'll be a big part of the things that we're looking to do. Obviously, they got a new quarterback, redshirt freshman, played well last week. They got a running back that's really good, and obviously they got some good receivers. But if we can control the line of scrimmage, I think it starts there. That gives our linebackers and back end a chance to be able to make some plays in that regard.
And then one last question. You had the opportunity to take a look at the Buffalo film. What are some things from an offensive and defensive standpoint that you believe you guys did well and that you can build on going into this Week 2 matchup?
Well, obviously offensively, I felt like we were able to move the ball against a good defense. And then, we hurt ourselves. And then defensively, I thought, those guys hung in there and battled. I mean, if you take the long run out of the equation, it's a different story with that back. And I think he's a good player. I thought we gang tackle well. I thought we handled their front. We one explosive run away from saying that guy had 20 carries for 60 yards with 2 true freshman defensive ends out there playing. So I like the way we played on defense. We got to continue to grow in that area, especially on the back end, making sure our fits are right in the run game. And I think we'll make a big jump from last week to this week.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, Eddie Carifio.
Hey, Coach. You had talked a lot preseason about, flushing the bad plays. You kind of touched on it at the press conference a little bit that needed to happen. I mean, how much is a focal point that going to be going around, and what can you do to try to drive home that message?
Yeah, to me, I thought our offense went out and flushed it. We moved right down the field. It wasn't like, okay, we were moving down the field and had a bad play. It wasn't like, hey, we had a back-to-back bad plays. I thought they flushed it, but we just can't. We have to have a higher premium on ball security. And it happened from different people. That's the thing. When somebody makes a mistake, you have to learn from that mistake and be able to make sure you don't go out there and make the same mistake.
And then are you expecting any significant changes to the lineup or the depth chart going from the last game into this one?
No, I mean, not significant. I think we got a couple adjustments. I think we had some young men that play good football. James Esther being one that played good football on the defensive line. So you obviously see Weston Kramer, he played his butt off. But, we're going to put James Esther next to him and let those guys battle. And then obviously the guys behind them need to play better to get on the field more. So there'll be some minor tweaks. I thought some guys really stepped up offensively and defensively, and we're going to give those guys that stepped up a more opportunity to play. And the one thing we talk about our players all the time, and the best players will play. And if you go out there and you perform well in the game, then obviously you're going to get more snaps.
What was your assessment of not just Bowers, but all three quarterbacks back there?
Yeah, they all bring something different. And I think that, as the season goes on, we can be able to use their skill sets in different ways. Excited about them. We got Destin Fletcher, who's coming along from a health perspective. So he's going to give us an option as we continue to, move forward. But I liked how Bowers commanded the offense. He had command. He was getting guys lined up. We were able to execute. For the first game, we really didn't have any, normally you see a lot of substitution errors. You see a lot of things that happen over the course of the game that you didn't see. We played clean football, for the most part, as far as the substitution, having the right guys out there, being able to manage the game at the quarterback position. That's a big part of it.
Okay, that's what I needed. Thanks.
Okay, we'll go to Steve Helwick.
Hi, Coach. You lost your top three running backs from a year ago, and it was really breaking in a new set of guys for last game. An experienced group. How would you evaluate how they did against a pretty good Buffalo front seven?
Well, I thought they were able to make some plays. Going into the game, I didn't feel like that would be an issue. If we hold on to the ball, you walk out of that game feeling pretty good against that front. I think we were able to run the ball. Obviously, Harrison Whaley is a guy we need to get the ball to more, and we're certainly going to do that.
Okay, we'll go back to Joe from WIFR.
Coach, during the broadcast, obviously you're on the field, but during the broadcast, the guys were really raving about Trayvon Rudolph in the return game. What do you say about him being a freshman, just kind of finding that gap, hitting the hole, and just going and really helping field position-wise?
Well, it's big for us. We want to have the ability to play complementary football, and special teams is a big part of it. And I thought our special teams units gave us a tremendous chance, giving us field position as an offense. The percentages goes up the further you are down the field. And we have complete confidence in Trayvon. Obviously, what he did in the return game, but also it was the guys blocking for him. Those guys were blocking their tail off and straining through the echo of the whistle to try to make sure they can create seams for him that he can have a chance to exploit. And
kind of following up on that, just being aggressive, going for two there at the end of the half, was that something just, the broadcast harped on analytics, but was that more just a gut feel to kind of go for two and get yourself to a one-score game there?
No, I mean, it's an analytic, it was an analytic thought process. I mean, they scored 21 points in the first half. So, you start looking at it, it wasn't going to be a low-scoring affair. So, in that situation, the book said go for two. And really it was a small percentage. It was probably 46% to go for two. And I decided, hey, let's go for two. Let's get the points. They was getting the ball back the second half, make it a 3-point game. Obviously, we didn't get it. But at the end of the day, that really didn't hurt us. Our defense came out and stopped them. we need to go down and take if we would have went down and scored that first possession, we was going to go for 2 again and go up by 3. So, we talk about all these decisions ahead of time. It's not a gut feel. We do a great job with game planning, management meetings, and I felt good about the situation. I felt good about the call.
So you feel like more of your coaching is going to be based on analytics, or is it going to be kind of a mix of both?
Well, it's certainly, we talk about all these things. We have a game management meeting the day before the game that we discuss different scenarios, different situations. And so we rely on the analytics some, and then obviously you got to dictate the flow of the game. Every game is different. Things going to happen at different times. But certainly, there's an element to analytics, and there's an element to going with, your gut of what you feel during that situation.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, we'll go back to Brandon Suarez.
Yeah, another play call question. The decision to run a 3rd and 10 draw play with 6 minutes left in the first half, obviously you guys were able to get the ball back and score, but was that kind of just a situation where you were trying to catch the defense off guard?
Well, that was a situation where we knew if we got to a certain yardage, we may go for it on 4th down. And also they had 2 really, really good defensive ends. The last thing we wanted to do is, be back there, holding on to the ball and give those guys a chance to make plays. So, a lot of that is, game film and studying your opponent. I mean, obviously their defensive ends were good. They had 2 sacks early. So really wanted to, play complimentary football, not make a mistake. And I thought our defense at that point had settled into the game and was starting to make some plays.
Thanks, Coach.
Any other questions for Coach Hammock?
Joe?
I think we just had it.
Just real quick, Coach. That was an Eastern Division opponent in Buffalo. Now you do get to go into your Western Division. You still have everything in front of you as far as the division goes. So how important is it to really get back to winning and back to the grind against Central Michigan here after what they did on Wednesday?
We talked to our team during preseason about the difference between the crossover game in the division game. And obviously, if you win your division games, you give yourself a great opportunity to continue to play down the line. So I think our players understand that. We got a great opponent. We respect them. And we got to have a great week of preparation to get ready for Central Michigan.
And with it only being 3 home games, 2 of them, back-to-back here to start the season, just how important is it to get this next win at home especially?
Well, I think it's important to get a win because it's the next game. It's an opportunity for us to go out and flush last week and put a good performance together.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Last call for Coach Hammock. All right, Coach. Thanks very much. We appreciate you. And we're going to bring on Weston Kramer, defensive tackle, senior, and we'll start taking questions. Let us know if you have a question for Weston. Go ahead, Brandon.
You face another high-powered offense this week. How important is it for the defense to get home this week as we finished last week with 0 sacks?
Well, with last week, we didn't have many opportunities. It was just like short play action passes that we couldn't really get home. They was just very quick. But this week, I saw a little bit of film. It's a little bit more drop back pass. And if we have the opportunity to get to the quarterback, we got to take advantage of that. But for the most part, everyone's got to go out there and continue doing our own jobs and, making plays and keep on going.
To follow that up, as one of the vets on this defense, what would you say were some positives about the young defensive players, especially considering you only gave up 2 touchdowns after that first quarter?
For the most part, all these guys, they did their jobs for the most part. They did a really good job. And even when the score went up, we all kept on playing. We just flushed everything that happened with the turnovers, and we just kept on playing, just kept on doing our jobs. So that was really good to see.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Eddie Carifio from the Daily Chronicle.
I was wondering specifically with Coach had mentioned Esther's probably going to get more time next to you. What do you see out of his performance, and what do you think about him maybe getting some more snaps next to you next week?
That's a great thing. The kid plays really hard. he's very physical and he does his job very well.
Okay, we'll go to Joe. Oh, go ahead, Eddie.
No, I was saying that was it. Thanks.
Okay, Joe.
Just kind of following up on Brandon there, just, Coach after the game on Wednesday mentioned that Buffalo's back was probably the best you're going to see in the MAC. Just what did you see out there trying to slow him down, and how do you feel about how you guys handled that one?
We all fit in our gaps really well. When we met the DNs, they made them cut back a lot, so we had to really contain out of that. And we just played our gaps, fit them up, and just played football.
That's it for the moment.
Okay.
If nobody else has a question, I can ask another one.
Go ahead, Joe.
Now that you got it in a game, with this COVID season, not having fans in the stands as a senior, just what was that like to kind of get that experience? And, we know all about the testing protocols. Just how are you feeling about, one game in after all that?
I mean, it felt fine. I mean, we brought our own juice. We had a fun time out there. We were playing. I mean, as far as not having fans, I mean, we still had some fans. It was like families. It kind of just felt like a normal MACtion game. So it really hasn't affected that much, and we're just happy to be back out in the field.
All right, thanks.
All right, we'll take any other questions for Weston Kramer here. Okay, Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, with another quality back in Kobe Lewis coming into Cal this weekend, how important is it for that defensive line to get that push that Coach Hammock talked about earlier in the press conference?
I mean, it's always important. That's our main job as a defensive line, is to stop the run, and that's what we're going to do. We're just going to go out there. We're going to have physical practices, keep on working, staying in our gaps, fitting them well, and continue.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take any last questions for Weston Kramer here. Okay, Joe.
I'll just ask the same thing that I asked Coach Hammock there at the end. Obviously, Eastern Division opponent. Now you get the West to here with Central Michigan. What does this mean for you guys going forward, knowing that everything's still kind of in front of you as far as playing for a conference championship?
I mean, it's great. We just, first Buffalo game, it was a good game to kind of learn off of a bunch of things, and we're just going to flush it, forget about it, and learn from what happened. And we're just going to go on with the rest of the MAC. And, we still have a chance of going to the championship for sure. We just got to win out the conference and keep on playing.
All right. Thanks, Weston.
All right, I think with that, Weston, we'll let you go. We appreciate you being with us. Thanks very much. And we'll bring on Brayden Patton, center now, so I always want to say a different position, but senior center, and we'll go ahead and take questions for Brayden. Let us know if you have a question for Brayden. All right, Brandon, go ahead.
We saw the ability to work the hard count for quite a few offsides last week. Aside from that, what are your biggest takeaways from this young line in week one?
Yeah, I think as offensive line, there are some things that we need to clean up assignment-wise. Keep being our number one thing is being physical. Physicality is a huge thing, especially up front. So I think just cleaning up our assignments and then keep being physical with the defensive line. That'll help us go a long way for the next game.
And then we talk about a Central Michigan defense that had 5 sacks last week, 3 of them coming from the second level at the linebacker position. How important is discipline in doing your one-of-one down the line on the offensive line this week?
Yeah, it's huge. Doing your 111 on each and every play, it's definitely a huge part to success on each play. We just got to be good with our assignments and our techniques and strain and pass pro.
Thanks, Brayden.
All right, Eddie, go ahead.
How would you say the offense did? I know it's something you guys have talked about a lot in flushing plays. How would you say you guys did with that on Wednesday?
Yeah, so obviously the turnovers were a huge part, and something that we need to fix, all of us, from top to bottom. And I feel without those turnovers, we were moving the ball pretty well on them, and I feel like we were a physical offense, and we got players explosive plays on them. So yeah, I think just cleaning up our assignments, focus on our techniques, ball security, strain on every single block. If we can clean that up for this next week, we'll be good.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Joe from WIFR.
Just, as from an offensive standpoint, it looked like this game plan was a little bit different than what we're used to seeing from an NIU team. A lot more play action, a little bit more, kind of quick passes. How would you say that the first game, implementing this type of offense was for you on the line?
I thought it was a really good game plan. Coach E, our offense coordinator, comes up with great schemes and great play concepts each and every week, and we really feel confident in him. And obviously, the game plan we thought was really good. We want to be able to run the ball. We always say that PTR, pound the rock. So up front, I feel like that's something we can improve on for this next game.
And do you think, the guys, toting the rock behind you, how do they do? It's been talked about so much ad nauseum about just the different running back core now that there is behind you. Just how do you feel like they did?
Yeah, I thought that they did really well. I thought that our running backs were running really hard, really physical. Like I said, all we got to do is, as offensive line, is clean up our assignments, our techniques, and then strain our blocks. And maybe some of those turnovers don't happen because maybe we're on our strain on our blocks and the linebackers aren't making the tackles on the running backs.
All right. Thanks, Brayden. Oh.
All right. Any other questions for Brayden Patton?
I'll take another one, I guess, if you want.
Okay. Go ahead, Joe.
Again, now you got Central Michigan coming up. Just what's the importance of kind of getting back to playing, obviously, after kind of a tough loss, the way you guys lost that one, kind of letting that one slip away in the second half and really getting back after it with a big one here.
Yeah. So I think really for us is, obviously our number one goal is to protect the ball. The ball is a program, as we say. So maybe minimizing those turnovers. Like Coach Hammock is saying, if we have a bad play or something or a missing assignment, we just have to flush that play and move on to the next one. I think that's going to be huge for us on the offensive side coming into this next game. And as offensive line, just bringing the physicality every play. Focusing on our fundamentals each play, and then straining every block.
All right. Thanks, Brayden.
Okay, go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I know we talked about it in the offseason as this being like the unquestioned season, a season we didn't think that we were going to have. How amazing was it to get out there on Wednesday and play alongside your brothers?
Oh, it felt so good. Even though there was only family there, as fans wise, it felt kind of like a regular match game. But it felt so good to get back on the field with everyone, all my brothers, and be just playing the game of football that we love. It was taken away from us for so long, and we didn't even know if we were going to have a season up to a point. And just getting back on the field with everyone, it was awesome.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Eddie.
Yeah, the one last thing I had was you just mentioned about, coach, and you guys have to flush the bad plays and do a good job at that this week coming up. How would you say you did at moving past the bad plays that you guys had offensively last week?
Yeah, I thought for the most part we did a really good job of flushing the next one. The next play after a turnover, we came back out and we ran a maybe 18-yard gain. So I think every single play after a negative, we flushed it, and I think we did a pretty good job of that for the most part.
Okay, thanks.
All right, we have go ahead. Another one from Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
I'm trying to unmute you, but you keep muting it.
Sorry about that.
Now.
All right, sorry about that. Yeah, I've been muting myself. So just as far as, kind of cycling in the quarterbacks there, Russ played well the first half, had some, issues in the second half, and then just kind of getting the younger guys involved. Does that make it any more different for the offensive line, whether it's cadence, whether it's just the way that the calls are being signaled out from the different quarterbacks?
No, not really. Each quarterback, we work with them during practice. So we're used to all the quarterbacks, and we feel really confident in all three of them. They're our brothers, and we work with them every single day on cadence, plays, all kinds of stuff, taking snaps from them. So we feel really confident in all three.